back for the final segment on Love Life. I'm Dr. Babe, and I have Jackie Smith with us, just finishing her thoughts on non-attachment. One thing that I wanted to ask you about as well is the ego. And how does this fit into this non-attachment idea?
Yeah, the ego is big. So for me personally, right, my ego has grown and flourished over the years from outside, all the outside components that have come into my life. And I was leading and living my life through my ego instead of leading and living life through my heart. And though the ego does play a part in the decisions and the choices that we make, if we lead through our heart first and follow our intuition and embrace it and not attach ourselves to the ego, to that loud screaming voice, but that soft, beautiful, loving and compassionate voice on the inside, things aren't so difficult. You know, we tend to make things difficult for ourselves, our ego. And if we just look inside and follow our heart, follow that divine wisdom that's already within us and release from the ego, you know, life just opens and blossoms for you.
So how would you define what ego is?
Ego, for me, it's all the influences that I've taken in from the outside world. Everything that I've been taught, how to feel if something happens, how to feel if I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel if something happens. There are all these outside influences that I've grown up with and that have been layered and compounded on top of me, kind of dulling down that inner loving knowledge and infinite wisdom and guidance that I have within me. And it's hard. It's really hard to strip away all these layers, you know, that have come down on us over the years. But as I do that and I embrace the inner guidance, it's just the path, the doors, the opportunities, the light, the love, everything is just so much more beautiful in life.
Would you say you just feel more fulfilled, more happy on a day-to-day basis now that this process has taken hold?
Absolutely. Yeah. My views and my perspectives have completely shifted. You know, I'm able to identify things within myself that I don't particularly appreciate or like as much, and I can work through them easier. You know, I feel like I'm guiding myself with such a brighter, more beautiful and compassionate light instead of having like a filter over the light and trying to navigate through the fog.
And you know, I have been using this concept of full expression for a while, and I think a lot of people have been taking to it because maybe there's this expectation, which is part of this ego, that we can only show the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think, you know, what I'm hearing from you, it reminds me of that. It resonates with me on that level because it's so important to be able to identify the things that you don't like, your limitations, or just negative emotions, whether it's sadness or anger or frustration, and be able to get familiar with them and let yourself experience them. It's so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny because we tend to put a label on everything, right? And we do go through life living with expectation. And we don't realize that everything is beautiful and everything has its place. You know, fear, it's not a negative emotion. We just associate it negatively because it's going into the unknown, something that we don't know. And we have the expectation. Anytime we feel fear, we expect it to be bad, you know, and it's just all these emotions and feelings, they're beautiful. And if you embrace them and get to know them within yourself, you find this amazing beauty, this beautiful outlook on life. You can see things that you would normally label as something bad, something negative, and you know, you just open to compassion and you embrace it and you actually learn from it. You learn from all these things that you would normally close yourself off to.
Exactly. And I think, you know, what you were saying, it's about staying open to experience and opportunities. And if you sort of reject negative emotions right off the bat, then you're cutting yourself off from that experience of full expression or full, you know, living, really.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I think that is an important issue to bring to the forefront just for our audience, because I think some people maybe are caught in that. They're stuck.
Yes.
Right? And they have those cognitive distortions or defense mechanisms that cause them to push fear away. And I agree with you. I think that when fear emerges, it's such an opportunity because it's an opportunity for growth. And it's not necessarily negative at all.
Absolutely.
And what are some of the fears maybe right now that you're contending with, that you're working through?
So the more that I've stepped into this more authentic self, this authentic being, I've been embracing my communication, which is something that I had suppressed and really put down because I was judging myself based on other people's feedback. And now I realize that my communication, it's a tool. It's a tool that I can use to express myself and help people. But the hurdles that I'm running through is how to express myself where people who might not necessarily be on the same vibrational level that I am on will be open to receiving and not necessarily judging. So I'm trying to learn how to harness my words and maybe move them and shift them so that I can still express them the way that I feel and want to express them, but so that they can also be received and shared.
This is really interesting that you say that, because I just participated in the National Gallery's exhibit on is art a language? And you just described exactly one of the points that they were trying to make, which is you're putting your art out there, which is ourselves. We are our own art, right?
We are.
And so we can't expect the reaction of other people,
Yep.
right? So I mean, I think it's fascinating what you've been experiencing, and I really admire your courage, and I think that, you know, as you go through and explore these fears with courage, of course there's not a destination of an awakening or a self-discovered self, but you're obviously in the right place for you.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing all of this with our audience and with me, and I hope that you continue and have much success and happiness in your life.
Thank you.